Welcome to the Cybersecurity channel. This is Sway. In this video, we're going to be going over Challenge 3 that was part of GoogleCTF Beginner Quest 2021. Alright, so let's go ahead and visit the challenge. The challenge, here's a brief description. The challenge is high-speed chase miscellaneous. Just some storytelling. So let's go ahead and actually get to the actual challenge, and we'll go ahead and open the link to the challenge in a new tab. Okay, so from the looks of it, looks like we have a car, and then we're going to have to control the car using JavaScript code. And we're going to go over here and read kind of the description. So we need to implement the control car function, and we're going to implement it in JavaScript using the header on the left. And then when implemented, control car function will be called several times per second during the chase to allow course corrections. And control function takes a single parameter scan array, which is an array containing 17 integers denoting distance from your car to the nearest obstacle. So indexes 0 to 7 on the left side of the car. Index 7 is the measurement at the left headlight. Index 8 at the center of the car. And indexes 9 through 16 on the right side of the car. Index 9 is the measurement at the right headlight. So from this description, we're essentially going to want to kind of give us a clue saying we're going to want to pay attention to indexes 7, 8, and 9. They also give us an image to look at, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Open up in a new tab, and this kind of gives us kind of what that scan array is going to look like. All right. All measurements are parallel to each other. A negative measurement might appear if the obstacle is very close behind a car. The control car must return an integer denoting where the car should drive. -1, drive more to the left. 0, continue straight or straighten up the car. And 1, or any positive value, drive more to the right. Okay, so let's go ahead. So what I did here is I went ahead and now opened up the web tools, web developer tools, and use the inspector, kind of take a look at what the script is like. Clearly it's all in one doesn't look very pretty, so thought about what's another way to doing this to make it look pretty. So I thought about using the debugger, so into the debugger, and this looks a lot better here. Alright, so let me go ahead and make this a little bit, make the font a lot larger. Okay, so here clearly have all the CSS code. We have all the code for the page, all different scripts. And if we keep going down, quickly going down, we can kind of see, starting to see stuff about the car. So it looks like this portion here, starting on line 361, the script block here, it has all the functions that we need for the screen, and actually looks like playing the game. So clearly this doesn't seem very pretty. I mean, hard to understand for anybody who's new to this, but there's always a method and a way to do it. So it looks like here we got the flag, and so we have to get to this point. So what I usually sometimes like to do is you don't have to read this through completely to understand it. What I ended up doing was I decided to the debugger is great, because the debugger, you can actually walk through what's happening in a program or whatever you're doing and kind of see what's going on and kind of determine what you need to do. And I already know that, based on the description, when I click this button, we're actually going to run the game, or actually get the car going. So what I did here was find the element or line where I had the click. Okay, so you find click. Alright, so here on execute button element, line 1112, execute button element, add event listener click. It's going to go to the on execute click function. So let's go to the on execute click function and see what that looks like. And here it looks like when this is set to, you can kind of see what it looks here. So here's the execute. So let's go ahead and go to the execute function and see what we have here. Okay, so on the execute function, we got compile user function. All right. So let's just look at all the stuff that has execute on there. This is the main function right here, but I want to actually get to a function where I can actually start doing things. Okay. Let's go to editor, because we know it's going to have to do something with the editor. So you can see what it looks like. So editor. Okay. Yeah, so here, compile user function, load the editor, and then so I'm going to use this one because this is kind of where, like, after I click, this is going to run whatever my code is in here. So I'm going to go ahead and flag this here. It's a breaking point, or sorry, it's a breakpoint. So what's going to happen here is when I hit the button, it's going to pause the program. And then I can walk through what's happening so we can actually visually see on the right side. It's going to give us the list of all the different variables and what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just run the function and see what happens. Blank. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so we paused here. It's paused on the breakpoint. And this is where we start off. All right, so now what goes on next is we can actually step. So this little, where my mouse is here with this little arrow pointing to the right, down is going to step into the actual function and go step by step. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So, okay, so now what's going on here is we're going to the editor element, right? So that's going to take us to our code. And now you can see here, this code is blank because I didn't put anything in there. So what's going to end up happening is the next one that I'm going through. So now it says f is null. So this is, we're starting with just a placeholder variable, and now we're actually going here, which is f. You know, try f is equal to new function scan array code. So this right here, what is this? Like I've never seen this before. So I, went to good old Google. Actually, I like the Mozilla developer .mozilla.org. I actually love this documentation in here. I've already done this before, so I go here and do function constructor. All right, and this walks us through what this constructor does. So what the constructor is actually doing is it gives you an example here. So you're defining a function, and you're giving it two variables, and then you're actually defining the function here. So if we take a look at the new function here, we're passing it the scan array argument, and then the code is here. So this is where our code's going to go, is right here. All right, and then so let's keep going through. So now we know what's going to happen here. So it's saving our function for future use. So we walk through it, and it's going to return the function to where the execute function was f compile user function. So now if this is null, it's going to set run as false, return. So let's keep walking through. And it was anonymous. So now this is it renames the function that we passed it as a calc function. So we can use it in a different one. This is positions, progress, and now we're going to actually calculate the steps. So we go to calculate the steps, and now this is where we actually start running through. Just keep clicking through, and you're going to see what, step by step what the program's doing. All right, calc step worker. So this is giving us kind of the first position where the car starts out at. All right, and then gives us the Y and the X, and then the Y, and then here it's going to say if the new X, runs through everything. And what's interesting is here's where we generate this line here, line 934 is where we actually start to generate our array, our scan array. So now we're going to scan array. Now it takes this generate scan array. Now here we go. We got, what's happening here. Starts off with the empty bracket. Just keep going through, and what's essentially is just generating the array. So we can just keep going through and clicking through and seeing, what the car count. So the car count is 160 cars. So there's 160 cars in this program. So just keep going through, and it creates car locations and various rules. And as we're actually clicking through here, we can actually scopes. Is this scopes? Yeah, the scopes. So if we look at scopes, you can actually see the different values that's going on here. So you can one by one, as you're clicking through, see how the values are changing. So let's see here, going through, now we're in I2, so we're in the second car, different car count, coming through, and you can actually see the see what's going on here. All right, let's just keep clicking through. It's going to go through 100 and it's actually just making the array, so it's not anything too crazy. So now we got the scan array over here. It's still, the length is still 0, so now we're going to actually see the scan array actually being populated, right? Just click through, going through the different functions, and you can actually see on this side too, you can actually see the array populating. So you can click through and see everything. So I just click through this and see what's going on here, and I'm going to keep clicking through. I'm going to pause the video, and once I get to a certain spot, I'll go ahead and continue. Okay, so I'm in a spot where now I have, if you look down here, I'm going to highlight the area here. Look here where I'm highlighting. We can see that the scan array currently has 15 elements. Okay, so we're going to click through a couple more. You can just see how it populates through. And then let's see what happens after it's completely populated. So there's 16 elements. All right, and then we go, so now there's 17 elements, so we're about to finish this iteration. And then now we're going to return that scan array. So let's go and return that scan array. So next thing is we're going to pop back to where our original function came us from. Okay, so now here we're going to scan array, and it's actually checking for conditions, right? It's checking to make sure that the left side and the right side of the car and the center of the car are, greater than 3. Otherwise, you get a you don't succeed. Okay, going through, and then here, right here, this is where our function is actually going to play a role here. So right here is our decision, right? This decision, the calc function in the scan array. This is the calc function that we create, an anonymous scan array. So we're going to have our function meet certain conditions in order for it to go. So if we keep clicking through, what happened here? Oh, if we clicking through, right? So the decision, if the decision is less than 0, it's going to go negative. So if we already know that if its decision is a -1, it's going to go to the left. So this is going to subtract from the y. And there's just a bunch of if-else statements, and then here it's going to check if you go out of bounds. And then, you know, if you're not out of bounds, it's going to send the new position for the car to the new y's. Okay, and then return true. And then if we come through, right, it's going to go through again and timeout, and then, you know, continue on until you know, resets it and figures things out. Okay, so, you know, I can keep clicking through. It's just gonna end up checking it. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna hit play and continue on, and now we get the actual exception here. All right, so I'm gonna reset this. So my approach to this, you know, it took me a bit to figure it out. You know, kind of determining what's going on here. So now let's go ahead and close this out real quick. Actually, I'm going to keep this open here. I'm just going to put it to the side here. So we have to, so like what we know, we have to figure out what's going on. So I want to see, you know, I ended up figuring out, oh, I can actually just manually input the where I want the car to go, and actually visually see on my screen where it's going. Not visually see it because of the debugger, but I'll actually see the values that it's going through and change them and input them myself, right? And so how do you do that? You make a prompt, right? So the way I did it is I had var prompt, all right, and just make that a 0, and then what's next? So we know we're passing the scan array, so I want to see what the values of 7, 8, 9 are when, you know, when we get to it. So I made a car array, right, to see what the actual car we have is doing. And then what I did is scan array, we can do here scan array.slice it, and we can actually get an array of the values that we're looking at for the car. So scan array.slice, so we know that we want to slice it from 7, and we want to get the value of 10 and 7, 8, 9, so we get those indexes there. The reason we put 10 is because you have it stops before 10, so you do 7, 8, 9, it doesn't include 10. Okay, so the next, right after that, so what do we got here? So now I went ahead and said alert. So an alert, you can actually print stuff onto the screen. So what I want to do is I want to do an alert, and I actually want to see what the scan array looks like. So scan array, and what I ended up doing before was I ended up doing row by robot to make it more visual for the videos. I'm going to actually make it list up and down, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. All right. And then all right, so now I actually want to now we want to see what the cars are, right? So what we're going to do here is the alert's going to show us where, you know, what the array looks like, all right? And then let's see if I can do this. I didn't actually do this way because I wanted is let's go here and do it this way. All right, so I'm going to see the scan array. It's going to list the scan array, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to actually say left of car left plus scan array or car array 0, car center plus car array 1, so we can see what it is, and then car right, and then car right, and then we can do our array 2, okay, and we can go ahead and close parentheses, okay, and then this is going to show us what it is, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to say prompt is equal to, or here, I'm going to actually make this decision. I'm just going to call it des. I'm not call it prompt, I'm going to call it des. So des, this is just not good etiquette, but you know, we're just getting the job done. Des is equal to prompt which way would you like to go? Enter way you would like to go, and then we'll input, you know, 1 and -1. All right, so now let's see what this actually does now. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Oh, let me turn off the debugger actually. Let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, exception. 874. Actually, I'm going to have to get the debugger in here. Inspect this. What's going on here? Oh, there it is. Let's go to the debugger and see what. Actually, we're going to just do the console here. Syntax unexpected. Oh, what's going on here? This is a problem with live. You see the actual problems here. Compile user function HTTPS high speed. Let's go to this over here. Click this. What's going on? What's going on here? What? Oh, that's the problem. So return. We're going to return decision. Let's see if that fixes it. 874. What's going on here? Close this out, we don't need that. Identifier. Oh, let's try this. But this is where it is. No. Fix something. Let's delete. Let's clear this out. Make it easier to see. Scan array dot slice 789. Scan array is 74, 876, 874, scan array 874, new function. Alright, 874, 985. Let's look at 985. Compile user function and 1061. Execute. See what happens if I refresh this page. Let's try. Now I get 8, 9. Oh, 1000. 874, 95, 1112. What's going on here? Huh. Alright, let's get rid of. Let's see if we get rid of this here. Let's get rid of this. Let's figure this out. Doing this live, everybody. Did this a different way to show you everybody different. Scan array. Let's try this. There we go. All right. Looks like there was All right. So here we got the array. And we can visually see what the array is. So this is, looks like the center of the car. Okay. Let's go ahead and okay, so you can actually see it moving. Sorry, I'm just going to click through and you can see high-speed chase. It's going through and you can see where the car is, which is right here, right? So you can go through and just, you don't even have to put anything in. You can see the car number coming down. I'm just going to hit enter a bunch of times and then we're going to end up, something went wrong. Okay, so let's see if I can actually get it's better to actually visualize. I'm trying to see if I can actually plus car left. Let me try this out real quick. Refresh this. Okay, perfect. Let's just hit refresh real quick. Get out of here. Okay, so let's see. Refresh. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to do car left, and this is going to say car array 0. Let's see. Let's walk through this and make sure that this works. And then I can continue on. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's refresh here. So now there was something wrong with my syntax, but let's go ahead and copy this here. Control V, Control V. Car left, car center, car right. Alright, and we're going to do is 1 and 2, and this should actually show us. Okay, perfect. So now we can actually see where the car is. So the car, we can see, you know, what the values are for our car. So car left is 8.75. We can see where it is on this array. Okay, so let's just, you know, click through. And now we can actually put in our input and say, hey, I want to move the car to the left or to the right. So let's see here. So now, oh, I'm running out of room. I'm at 8.75, you know, to the left of me, right? This part here is to the left of the car. So I'm going to move the car to the left. So let's go ahead and do that with the -1. Okay, and we saw one of our values change, -1. Okay, keep doing that. Okay. Oh, perfect. And we're actually moving the car to the left, and now we're at a point where we can actually, you know, won't run into anything for a bit. So let's just keep going through. Okay. Just keep going. Okay, so now numbers are negative. Okay. All right, 12. I'm at 12, 12.25. Okay. Oh, boom. I'm at, I have more space on one side. So let's go ahead and start moving it the other way. So 1, move it to the right. But as you can see, our car is moving up. Our car is actually moving up and down here, right? So like if I'm going to move the car further down to the right, I should get more zeros on this part of the array. So let's go ahead and keep moving our car to the right and see that happening. Okay, 1, 1. As you can see, okay, so you can see our car got centered again in the middle. So our car keeps getting centered in the middle. Everything moves to the, everything starts moving and revolves around the car. So, you know, we can see here, okay, bam. Now in the middle. Let's keep going and see what happens here. 29, it's going to keep going. Keep going. I'm going to have to eventually get to a point where the numbers get below 0 and then flips and we get an actual value that's bigger than what we currently have. There's 39.75. So we're going to watch it again and do it. Keep going again. All right, and our car's moving. All right. As you can see, our array is shifting, and now we're centering the array on the larger values, the maximum of whatever's in the array. And after this, now we're centered. Now we can just keep going. So this is great all in all, but there's 160 cars. I tried to do this manually just to, you know, continue to do it, and I was like, this is way too difficult. It's going to take me hours, and sometimes I missed it the way I had it before. So what can we do here? So we can actually form an algorithm, or a data structure to actually do this for us pretty quickly. You know, it takes some thinking about how to do it, but it's doable. Okay, so I'm going to walk through how I did that. I don't actually need this console anymore over here, so I'm going to go here and see if I can, and I'm actually make this a lot bigger. Okay, so we know we're going to get a scan array, and we already know that our car actually has to move over, and all three values for car 0, 1, car for 0, 1, 2 in an array have to be the maximum values for a given moment. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I'm going to go ahead and, we know there's a left side of an array and a right side of an array. So I started off with that, right? We know that's what's going to happen. So I went ahead and said scan array. So I said var left side, left array, and that's going to equal scan array dot slice, and that we know that it's from, on the description, that it's from 0 to 7. So from 0, but we know that the car 7 is the actual left side of the car. So we're going to do 0 to 7 because we don't want to include 7 in the array. Again, 7 is the value at the at index 7 is not included. So that's our left array. Var center, or we'll just call it car center, or left car. We'll do car left just to keep the. All right, and then we're going to do equals scan array slice. We know it's going from 7 to 9. We know that we don't. If we do include 10, that's the way we got to go. Var car right. And that's going to equal scan array dot slice, and we're going to know it's going to start from 10 to 17, right? Because our last index is 16. All right. So that gives us that array. So how do we find the maximum, right? What do we got to do? Thinking about it, it's a really, thinking about it, there's an easy way. We don't have to find the minimum either. It's just the maximum. So if we do var, so I'm going to set the maximum to be the first element of the array, right? So var max is going to equal scan array dot, scan array 0 for the first element. And now I'm going to make a for loop. And I'm going to start the loop at 1, right? Because we already have the value we want. I is less than scan array dot length. Okay. And then I plus plus, and then go here, and we're going to say that. Now we're going to go through and check everything. So we know that if we, for example, if we go through this array, right, starting with the first 0 element, I'm going to make this the first one. So what do we got to do? How do I get to the maximum here, right? This lot number this wasn't even there, so let's exclude this. So, okay, so my first one's gonna. What I want to do now? How do I gonna find the max? Okay, so come here. I already have one value. What about this value? Is this bigger than this one? No. Okay, continue on. Is this value bigger than the next one? Yes. This is already the maximum. Do we have to check for it? No, because we already know that these are going to be the 3 maximums match. So we can make a algorithm based off of this. Okay, so so now we have the first max. So what are we going to do? So if max is less than the current element we are of the array, we're going to sorry, the new max is going to equal the current element in the array, and that is it. We don't have to do anything else. That's it. We got the max. And now we go here. So now we have the max value. So what do we want to do with that? So with that, okay, going back, we know that the car is 3. So the reason I split up the array, right, is I want to know if all my maxes are within one array, right? And I want to check if my actual car center has all of the maxes in there, right? So this is a quick and easy way of figuring out, should I stay in the center or should I be moving? Okay, and what's going to happen is we're going to compare, right? So if there are, you know, greater than 0, greater than 0, I forgot what to say. If there are greater than 0, if the count of the maximums in the right array are 0, or greater than 0, we're going to move to the right, right? And then we're going to we already know that the left side is going to have 0 anyway, so we don't really have to do that many checks. So now that I have the max here, now I'm going to actually do for loops for each, right? For each, so I'm going to do a var left counter, left count is going to equal 0, var center count is going to equal 0, and then I'll do var right count is going to equal 0, right? Equals 0. All right. Okay. So here, what we're going to do now? Now we're going to do for loops for. We're going to do a for loop for each of those arrays and the count. So for variable I equals 0, I is less than center car left array dot length I plus plus, and we're going to do, oops. All right, so here we're actually going to do an if statement. So if the max, if car left I is equal to the max value, right? What are we going to do? We're going to increment it. So we're going to increment the left count. Left count 1. And that's all we want to do, right? That's it for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy paste this in here, and now I'm going to change. So this is going to be car. I'm going to actually make this right here. Let's make it the right. Keep consistent here. Right. 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 Oops, sorry. This is right count. Right count. This is going to be car left, or car center, sorry. Center. 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 Center count. All right, and now do the right count. Right. Right. Right count. Okay, so now we got all those values. So now what happens? All right, so we actually now have we can compare to any side to make sure that if it's greater than 0, if one side of the car is greater than 0 for the max count, it has to move to that side. So for example, so here we're going to do a comparison here. So if the left count, or sorry, if the right, so if left count is greater than 0, right, what are we going to do? Well, if it's greater than 0, we know that it has to go to the left. So we're going to return -1. All right. And all right, now we can copy this. Okay, so what if the right count is greater than 0? So if the right count is greater than 0, we know we have to go to the right. Okay? It's as easy as that. And if these are equal to 0, these are never going to be less than 0. They are going to be equal to 0. So if the center, if the car center is 0, we actually don't even need this. We actually don't even need the car center. We don't even need this car center, I don't think. Probably can even make it easier. So let's just, you know, let's just get rid of this and see if it works. I did it when I did it before, but let's just get rid of that. So return -1, return 1. So what happens? So now we actually have to have another return for return 0 to keep it in the center. So let's go ahead and run this. Car left, car right, max is scan array at 0, and then we're going to find the max number, and then we don't even need the center count here. Let's try to see what happens if we don't use the center count. We just need the left count and the right count, and if the left count is greater than 0, it has to go to the left. If the right count is greater than 0, then it has to go to the right. So let's go ahead and run this, and this should work, and we should get the flag. Going on here? Car left, slice, scan array. Oh, there, I'm missing a. Let's look at this real quick. Let's try again. Car left, car right. I got this. Scan array, scan array. Syntax errors anywhere. Probably in here somewhere. No, is less than scan array dot linked. Car right. Car right. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what happened here. I've got to move this left. Left. Left count. Alright, let's try again. Oh no. Scan array.length. I is equal to var I is equal to 1, var I is equal to 0, I plus plus, var I is equal to 0, I car left. Alright. Car left, car right. Should be working. I probably have a syntax error somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is. I think I have another one here. Another one here. Okay, so now this should work. Let's try this real quick. Look at that. The car is going and going and going and going. I don't even have to manually input it. And pretty soon we're gonna see the flag. All right, we got the flag, everybody. And this was a bit longer video, but I, want to go through and show you kind of like what usually happens in these challenges and testing out and optimizing things. This is hacking is essentially a way to, figure out back ways to do things quicker or that people don't know. But this is a pretty easy algorithm, but I just had to walk through it a bit on my own before I could show you guys how I solved it. Sorry for the link to the video, but hopefully a lot of you learned a little bit about JavaScript. I definitely learned a little bit more. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button, and if you're liking the way I walk through the challenges, please subscribe. Thank you.